106.3 Beach FM.
And my pleasure to welcome to the program once again the Chair of the Paraparaumu Raumati Community Board, Kapiti Spiers. Good morning, welcome to you, and I do hope you've had a little bit of rest over the long weekend.
Good morning, John, and yes, I did have a little bit of rest. Mind you, I was up at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, which was great.
As were many people. It was so impressive.
Yes. It was, yes. People from the across the road from a pensioner housing unit, and some of the pensioners were out there as well, so that was really good.
It's an Anzac Day that we'll always remember, I think. It's just been so unusual. And I wouldn't have thought at the beginning that it was going to be so successful, but people just did their individual thing and their community thing, which was wonderful. So
people along the road put lots of poppies on the front fence, which was really great.
That's right. Well. Yes, lots of poppies, lots of teddies. It's been an extraordinary time. Now, the work of the community board continues. I imagine you've been Zooming a lot. What's been happening?
Yes, we're having our Zoom meetings now once a week. So last week we gave away some more funding to the Kapiti Birthright to purchase clothing for children, shoes, blankets. They'd run out of their supply, so they needed more for this time. So it's really important to look after. And now it's getting colder. I mean, children need shoes, don't they? And clothing, and also the Kapiti Womens Centre for $500 for a freezer. They have get a lot of food given to them, and they need to freeze it because they help out lots of people in the community as well.
Well, so two excellent causes there. Kathy, I believe that the criteria for that funding may have been loosened a wee bit recently.
Yes, it has been changed. I went onto the website before your call, and they've also changed the website because there was a link there to go on to the funding application. But the community board now, the conditions on our criteria do not preclude our community board from considering any applications at our discretion. So now I'm looking to put the word out there because we still have about $9,000 or $10,000 left in our grant, which I would like to see used up by 30th of June, which is a couple of months. So if there's any small businesses out there in our community, from Raumati South to Kina shops up Kaitawa, that would like some funding, it's not a lot of money, and I'm not sure how we can help, but it could be things like, maybe a couple of weeks rates or a phone bill or power bills or something small like that, just to help along the way. The application forms, if you go into the KCDC website, right down the bottom on the left-hand side, you'll see grants funding. If you click on that, then you'll see community boards, and then go to Paraparaumu Raumati Community Board, and the application form is there. If people are unable to fill out the form online, then my email address is also up there on the website. They can just click me an email.
Okay. So let's go back to the businesses. Are you actively inviting businesses to apply for funds? And let's face it, it's a terrible time to be in business at the moment. It's been an absolute nightmare the last month. Who would have thought that? Who could plan for that? And particularly a small business. So you're just trying to help where you can, are you?
Yes. As I said, it's not a lot of money, but we may be able to help the small businesses somehow. It could be the butchers in Klein Street. It could be a little shop down around Raumati South, a cafe. But as I said, there's not a lot of funding, but if we can help, we certainly will. We'll do our best to. Of course, it's got to be approved by the whole board.
Indeed.
But I will certainly put them forward, and hopefully we can help, because it would be good to spend that money because people need it now.
They do. No doubt about that. So get onto it, people. You've heard the invitation here on Beach FM. Kathy, I believe the gateway is beginning to open. Well, possibly a little crack, a little promise of it opening anyway. What have you heard?
Well, the staff have been working on the Gateway project. We're having a briefing this morning. The community board has written a letter of support for the Gateway. They're applying to the growth fund in the Parliament government for 50% funding for the Gateway. But that's all I know at the moment, so I'm hoping to find out a lot more this morning at our briefing, because the people in the community are really, really interested in, what is going to happen, what is it going to look like, where is it going to be put, and all of those things. So, but I guess if there's no funding from government, it won't happen, but let's hope, fingers crossed.
And you say the application is for 50% of the funding. Where would the other 50% come from?
We'll have to, then council would have to go back to the councillors and say, well, if we've got this 50% granted from the growth fund, now how are we going to work out the other 50%?
Right.
So they'll have to try and work it out from there.
Interesting times.
Yeah, it will be interesting, yes.
Also interesting, the airport, you mentioned last week you'd had the approach from the Mayor of New Plymouth about the flight control centres, the information centres, which many people would consider to be very important to Paraparaumu, with the airport so well established here, been here for, well, as part of our community, has been for most of this last century as well as this. And have you had any feedback about the petition and even the future of the airport?
Well, yes, I did write to CAA, and I got a lovely reply back, and what they're saying is that this is for the Aerodrome Flight Information Service, that anything that could potentially impact safety of that system is something that they would carefully consider before they made any decision. However, the obligation lies, and the obligation for the safety of the airport sits with the individual airports. Then they engage with the airways to ensure that this is the case. Like if it was going to go, then people at the airport would have to put in their case. But before the CAA could consider any proposal for change, they need to be provided with a safety case for each airport in question. Oh. And once they receive that safety case, the CAA would carefully consider that before any final safety decision was made. So it's up to the airport themselves to put in the case to keep the flight information service or have it gone. So, yeah, they take each airport individually, CAA does.
So the airport has to do this. There are some suspicions that maybe the owners of the airport would rather it not be an airport. Do you think this is a possible issue that the wider community should have some input into?
Yes, well, along with the flight information service, if that goes, we will not be able to have the bigger airplanes, like Air Chadmans will not be able to fly in the same planes that they used to come in. So they'd have to come in an under 30-seater. So to me, they go hand in hand. And I'm going back to a Mayor Guru's article on the 4th of March and saying that the on Trade Me, representatives of the new owners, had put some land up there for sale.
Yes.
So if we lose our airport services, aerodrome services, and then it would be easier, I would say, this is just my opinion, to sell the land off because people wouldn't have the bigger planes coming in. But that is a concern, and we're still waiting. When Maxwell, the CEO, said he would give us an update on the airport in the next couple of weeks, but I'm still waiting to see when that is going to be, because as we, for Paraparaumu and Raumati, as you said, the airport's been here for a long, long time. We need to know what's going on there. Because the new owners, I looked them up on Google, and they obviously real estate agents. So, light bulb moment. We don't want to see a lot of land because at the moment, in the previous owners, it was leased. And now they're advertising it for sale. So it's not very good. And people in the community are getting rather concerned, as am I.
I've always had concerns about the airport. I mean, that transfer from government to private hands, I always thought was a bit dodgy, and I'm sure that many people in the community, certainly the local iwi, had some concerns about that. It just seemed to me to be a very, very strange and almost an overnight kind of operation. And I've got a feeling that we're beginning, as a community, to suffer some of the consequences of that, in my opinion. opinion, rash decision made, several decades ago now.
Yes.
So I just hope that whenever this decision is made about the future of the airport, that the community does have an input which is listened to and responded to as well.
That's right. Yes, exactly. But, first of all, we need to know, what is going on? So we need to know, really.
Okay.
So hopefully we find out in the next couple of weeks.
You're on the case, Kathy. Let us know when you know, won't you?
Absolutely will do. Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Kathy. It's been a delight once again. Kathy Spiers, Chair of the Paraparaumu Raumati Community Board. Thank you, Kathy.
Beach FM, locals talking to locals.